Brian Bloom was here for 4 years. I feel like the game botched it badly this year. But I have no recollection of it, and I feel like that is a big miss by baseball. It's John Tomasi, NBC Sports Boston. I've told you this before. John's first love's always been baseball. Okay, John's a good baseball guy. And he's right. Had the Red Sox, they could have extended themselves a little bit, gotten both Montgomery and Blake Snell and been right there. In fact, I'd say they'd be pretty good if they'd done that. You'd put Whitlock and Houck in the bullpen, or at least one of them. You want to keep one in the rotation, that's fine. Could have traded Nick Pivetta. There's all types of options. Once you start signing guys and you don't do anything to affect your minor league system, although I think there was a compensation pick attached to Blake Snell. So that would have been the one downside to Blake Snell. I haven't mentioned that in the last couple of days, and I should. But again, I don't want to lament over that because that's been, this has all been true for a while. They could have, would have, should have, they are what they are, and the product is what it is. That said, you're now relying on Bayo, Whitlock, and Houck specifically. Those three guys. 2 out of the 3 have to blossom in some way. I really leave Bayo out of it because he's sort of, the other 2 guys have been tried in the bullpen. I sort of feel like they're getting one last gasp here. And honestly, I don't think they even deserve that. But whatever. At least in the case of Houck, I can look at him and say his body's built more as a starter. Whitlock still feels a little brittle. But make no mistake about this, okay? What the Red Sox do in the early part of this season matters if you want to buy in. The team desperately needs a fast start. And I believe in, fast starts and strong finishes anyway. When it comes to baseball, you want to coast a little in the middle, you can get away with it. But start fast, finish strong. And usually the morale keeps up because you're in it right out of the gate. The other thing is if the Red Sox are in it, let's just say they can somehow find a way to be in it on June 15th, 2.5 months. Well, now all of a sudden the trading deadline's coming up and now you're a buyer and everything changes. Now you add a piece and okay, maybe that staff can be what you thought it was going to be because you can go out and get the piece you need. But you got to get off to the fast start. A bad start kills them. So there is pressure on them in the early part of this season if they want to bring back the fan base. Back to your calls. Tom's in a car. Tom, go ahead.
Hey, I was just saying, thinking how stupid is MLB? There's no reason to have a West Coast team facing an East Coast team or an East Coast team facing a West Coast team. You're not giving the fans the ability to watch the game. And also on top of that, why wouldn't they just play it a 1 o'clock game or a 4 o'clock game out in Seattle so that you can actually watch the game? They have the Giants and the Padres playing right now. Why couldn't that be a night game so that people can actually come home and watch baseball? It's asinine to me.
Tom, all legitimate points, pal. All legitimate points. So I feel like the game botched it badly this year. Usually, tell me, when opening day comes in baseball, and some of it is us here because the team just lacked hype and lacks buzz and has for a while. Okay, so it's hardly anything new. But usually as opening day approaches, I see ESPN triple header, ESPN quadruple header, 1, 4, 7, 10. I'm sure they did it. Maybe they pumped it up. Maybe they didn't. But I have no recollection of it, and I feel like that is a big miss by baseball. Mike and Franklin. Mike, go.
Hi, I'm Fred. Hi. Thanks for taking my call. This team reminds me of Major League 2 when no one could name any players. I could only name Devers and remember Duran. And the biggest news of the offseason was they signed Heinz Ketchup. There was a full page in the Globe. You don't have to bring your own ketchup in the games. And more people ask me about, hey, what's going on with the ketchup at the Red Sox? That's the biggest news of the offseason is the ketchup. Thank you.
Okay. The ketchup's a big deal, I guess, Majori, huh? Have you heard about this, Kevin Majori? I mean, Joe Murray was here earlier. He's the guy to ask about all things food. But I think that, have you heard it? Did you hear the ketchup going back to Fenway Heinz is a big thing?
Yeah, I mean, people were very upset last year at the beginning of the year. I remember the beginning of the year, there was a lot of upset people about it. So they were thrilled when it was announced that Heinz was coming back.
So that is the level that we have reached, folks. That is the level that we have reached. The Heinz ketchup coming back to Fenway Park is the biggest news of the offseason. Heinz ketchup back at Fenway is the biggest news. That doesn't say much for your baseball team. John in Freetown. John, go ahead.
Mazz, you're a little older than I am, and obviously you covered the team for many years.
John, I put you on hold here for a second. You got to speak directly into the phone. I can't hear you, okay? So you got to speak directly into the phone. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Matt?
Better, yes. Go.
Okay. But what is the vision for this team? A 3 or 5 year plan? Because all of my years watching, and like I said, you're a little older than I am, you usually saw some type of blueprint, like sign a couple of free agents, try to draft, make some trades. I just can't see what the future is for this team. Is it just draft and keep our own talent, or is it going to be just kind of like float along mediocrity and just let it go that way? Because I just don't see what the future holds for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay, you're not alone. You're not alone. Nobody does. I mean, maybe they do. I have no idea. I don't know what they project for some of the kids in their lowest levels or what have you. But I can tell you this. When neutral observers or non-Red Sox observers have looked at the Red Sox farm system, their pitching in the system, their minor league pitching, ranks among the 2 or 3 worst teams in baseball. The worst! They have no pitching! Does everyone get that? They have no pitching in their system. Chaim Bloom was here for 4 years, and they have no pitching beyond what they have on the big league roster. And even then, they have no pitching based on the performance we have seen. So again, you look at the minor leagues, and you say, maybe there's some great prospect coming. Maybe there's a Pedro or a Clemens or a Lester. There isn't. It doesn't exist. So Bloom, this was the biggest failure of the Chaim Bloom administration or era. The pitching didn't get any better. It may have gotten worse. Bayo was signed by Dave Dombrowski. He was not a Bloom guy. The only Bloom guy that you can really look at, for the most part, is maybe Whitlock and Winkowski, both of whom are relievers. But there's no starting pitching. So if all they're going to do is draft and develop, it's going to be a few years before you get the pitching, which is why they needed to be more aggressive on a free agent market that had pitching on it. And they didn't get any of it. And some of it was affordable. Prior caller asked last segment whether there's collusion, what have you, going on in the market. This is nothing new. The superstars, the class A's in the free agents in free agency are getting big deals. No one else is. The middle of the road player isn't getting a big deal anymore. All these guys are getting short deals, mid-level deals at best. They're not getting the long-term deals. Baseball owners have smartened up, or they're colluding, or both. I mean, I think it's collusion. I think there's a clear attempt and approach to not give out big deals to basically what I would call grade B free agents, which doesn't mean they're bad players. They're good players. They're just not great players. If you like that clip, check out more videos from Felger and Mazz here. For more Red Sox analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.